Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Salma Seftya Nabila. I will explain about the manufacturing company. The definition of manufacturing company. Manufacturing company is a company whose activities are processing raw materials into finished goods and then selling the finished goods. The example of manufacturing company are PT Indofood, Unilever, Comfit, and etc. Next is the characteristic of manufacturing company. First, its main activity is in the form of a production process, namely processing raw materials into finished goods. The second, the resulting product can be physically viewed. The third, the consumer has no role in the production process. Fourth, the existence of consumer dependence to define existing products. And the last, using large machine and sophisticated equipment in the production process. The difference between service company, trade company, and manufacturing company. First, the service company. In the service company, they are not selling goods or product, but selling in the form of service. The goal is to obtain a set profit, don't have inventory, and they does not determine the cost of goods. Next is trade company. In trade company, they are selling merchandise that has been purchased from suppliers. The goal is to resell the purchased item without changing the shape. Have an inventory of finished goods. Determining the cost of goods is relatively easy. No need to make a report on cost of goods produced. Then, manufacturing company. In the manufacturing company, the activities are manufacturing, processing raw materials into finished goods, then selling them. The goal is to produce finished goods that are worth selling. Have an inventory of raw materials. There are several stages in determining of cost of goods. Need to make a report on the cost of goods produced. Inventory of goods in manufacturing companies divided into three. First is raw material inventory. Raw material inventory is a main material that need to produce a product. The second is work in process. It is some unfinished goods that have absorbed raw materials, direct labor, and factory overhead. And the third is finished good inventory. It is an inventory that's ready to sell to the consumer. In manufacturing company, there is three types of cost. First, direct material cost. It is all cost for materials that can be easily and directly identified with finished good. For the example, raw material are woods for furniture companies or tobacco for cigarettes companies. The second is direct labor cost. It's labor that carries out the conversion of raw material directly into finished products and can be duly charged to certain products or can be identified directly with finished goods. For the example, direct labor are carpenters in furniture companies or cigarette dealers in cigarette companies. Third is factory overhead cost, or also refers to as manufacturing overhead, manufacturing load, or factory load. It is the manufacturing cost other than direct raw materials and direct labor and cannot be traced directly to finished goods. For the example, auxiliary materials are sometimes called indirect materials. For the example, factory fixtures, nuts, bolts, and pelleters in furniture company. Accounting cycle in the manufacturing company. Accounting cycle in the manufacturing company divided into two parts. The first is recording step. There are the steps that include in the recording step. First is creation or receipt of proof of transaction. The second is journaling. The third, transfer of books or post to the ledger. The second step is summary step, or in bahasa is tahap pengikhtisaran. There is create a trial balance, create a worksheet and adjusting journal, create financial statement, closing journal, create a trial balance after closing, and then reverse journaling. Next is journal of transaction. The journal when purchase raw of material is bahan baku in the debit, utang usaha in the credit. The journal when use of raw material is barang dalam proses in the debit, pengendali overhead in the debit, and then bahan baku in the credit. The journal when use of salaries and wage is barang dalam proses in the debit, pengendali overhead pabrik in the debit, beban gaji administrasi in the debit, beban gaji penjualan in the debit, and then beban gaji in the credit. The journal when assigning factory overhead to work in process is barang dalam proses in the debit, and then pengendali overhead pabrik in the credit. The journal when recording factory overhead except materials, indirect and direct labor, pengendali overhead pabrik in the debit, and then kas, utang usaha, akumulasi penyusutan aktiva tetap, asuransi dibayar di muka in the credit. The journal when the company record a finished goods, barang jadi in the debit, and then barang dalam proses in the credit. Journal when company sales of finished good use the perpetual system, kas in the debit, piutang usaha in the debit, and then penjualan in the credit. Then harga pokok penjualan in the debit, and then barang jadi in the credit. The financial statement in the manufacturing companies. Before the company make an income statement, there is a cost of goods produced reported. It is a report made to find out the amount of remaining inventory used in the production process in one period. After make a cost of goods produced report, the company make income statement. It is to find out the value of the profit and loss of a company. And then the company make equity of change report. It is contains information about equity owned by a company as well as information about other things that cause equity to increase or decrease until the end of accounting period. Next is statement of financial position. It is a report containing asset accounts such as cash, account receivable, inventories, and etc. And there is containing passiva in the form of debts and capital owned by the company. And the last is cash flow statement. It is a report that contains information about cash income and expense in a certain period of time.